The 14th Dalai Lama and the Anatomy of Politically Correct Buddhism. A multimedia presentation, Part 5, based upon Stephen's chapter in Westmont University Professor Inross, A Guide to New Religious Movements, published by InterVarsity Press in 2005. During August 2000, 1 year prior to the September 11th attack, the Smithsonian spent $6,500,000 of your tax money in Washington, D.C., constructing an exhibit on Tantric Buddhism on the National Mall, including pornographic Tantric art, a Tibetan temple, prayer wheels, sand mandala, and the Dalai Lama World Peace Prayer Meeting on the National Mall. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob commanded his people, "Do not learn to imitate the detestable practices of the nations." Failing to heed his counsel, the nation fell. It is an instruction a nation does well to adhere to. This prayer wheel was part of the Smithsonian Culture Festival and was turned on the National Mall by many of the thousands of summer visitors. The ancient name for witchcraft was machinery, seen behind the veil. The occult practices of Tibetan Buddhism tap into a system of works in an attempt to reach enlightenment, the Buddhist version of salvation. Supposedly, each mechanistic turn of the mani, or wheel, sometimes filled with 1,000,000 Buddhist prayers or mantras written on thin pieces of paper, magically transfers to the practitioner's karmic account by invoking the name of the Buddha. Strangely, the engineer working on plans for the 1,776-foot-high replacement for the World Trade Center in New York wants the wind turbines at the top to serve as Buddhist prayer wheels, cycling through mantras of peace. Guy Battle, who's overseeing the wind farm for the planned Freedom Tower, calls it a spiritual gesture to replace the same airy reaches filled with death on September 11, 2001, reports the Village Voice. How far we've fallen as a nation. Local newspapers read, "Tibetan leader's message of peace attracts diverse throng to the mall." The Monlam Chenmo World Peace Ceremony accompanied the Smithsonian's Folk Life Festival, Tibet Land Beyond the Snows, which was billed as the largest display of Tibetan culture ever to appear in the West. The prayer ceremony was led by the Dalai Lama, facing towards the nation's capital. He was accompanied by a retinue of Tibetan lamas and banners, also known as tankas, with Tibetan gods and goddesses prominently displayed to his left and to his right. Another day on the mall, in front of the Lincoln Memorial, Tibetan leaders signed a Tibetan Declaration of Independence, demonstrating their desire for a free and independent Tibet. Some of those represented local Tibetan immigrants and a former Tibetan nun who was imprisoned and tortured for her faith. The Tibetan flag is prominently displayed. In October 1998, two groups of Tantric Buddhist monks began a tour across America and Canada to construct sand mandalas. The green dots represent sand mandalas that have been constructed by traveling bands of Tibetan lamas. Over 300 have been financed by the Richard Gere Foundation and the National Endowment for the Arts. The red dots represent a project called Siddhartha's Intent, which is a global project initiated by Tibetan Buddhists in Bhutan. They have completed their target of burying Tantric vases, euphemistically called peace vases, throughout the entire United States. They buried them in every state capital, every major river, national park, lake, sacred mountain peaks, and sacred sites. The U.S. is the first country they finished on Earth, planted in the Colorado Rockies. They've the Great Lakes, Mississippi River, Yellowstone National Park, Sedona, Arizona. The mandalas are also spread throughout the United States, from the very southwest corner in San Diego to Los Angeles, San Francisco, Seattle, Arkansas, Chicago to New York. The larger red dots represent the 60 museums who had Buddhist art exhibits organized on the Buddhism Project on the East Coast and the Awake Project on the West Coast from 2003 to 2004. The late Mas Toyotomi noted that when idolatry is camouflaged in fine art, three things happen. One, intellectuals come to respect, accept, and appreciate it, and idolatry is tolerated by the upper class. Secondly, money becomes available for ever-growing idolatry. Wealthy patrons will sponsor creation of idols in the name of culture. 3. The masses are encouraged to indulge in idolatry, since the last two factors has made idolatry respectable and idols abundant. Christians must see through this clever strategy of Satan in promoting idolatry. He wrote this on December 8th, 1986. The land is being defiled. Is there a connection between man's disobedience to God and global warming? Floods, fires, earthquakes, hurricanes, tornadoes? Look at the map and see if there's any connection. As is often the case, a Sam Mandala accompanied the exhibit. When the two lamas were at the Bowers Museum in Orange County, we asked them, who is the mandala dedicated to? They replied, Avalokitesvara, the patron deity of Tibet. When we asked, is that the Dalai Lama? They simply replied, yes. The price of liberty is eternal vigilance. One must bring to remembrance and in agreement refresh the covenants of our forefathers who committed themselves to serve our Lord Jesus Christ. What is our charge as heirs of their sacrifice? Having undertaken for the glory of God and the advancement of the Christian faith and the honor of our king and country, a voyage to plant the first colony in the northern part of Virginia, do by these presents solemnly and mutually, in the presence of God and one another, covenant and combine ourselves together into a civil body politic for our better ordering and preservation and furtherance of the ends aforesaid. That was the Mayflower Compact in 1620. The question is, has America become like Jeshurun, obese, forsaking her God, provoking him to jealousy with foreign gods, sacrificing to demons, not to gods they did not know, to new gods, new arrivals that your fathers did not fear? Let us repent. Where are the gatekeepers?